and consists of 8 atoms at the 8 corners of a cube. In the ball and stick model shown here, the distances between the atoms are greatly exaggerated. In actuality, the atoms are packed much more closely together and touch somewhere in the structure.
लेटेस्ट टाइप्स अब हम देख रहे हैं कौन कौन सी पॉसिबल लेटेस्ट टाइप्स हैं. फ़िलहाल हम देख रहे हैं क्यूबिक के लिए, और आपको ये पता है 3 होती हैं, तो उस पर हम थोड़ा सा देखते हैं कि वो किस तरह स्ट्रक्चर बनता है लेटेस्ट के ऊपर बेसिस.
In the structure. A more realistic model of this structure is the space-filling model. Here the size of the atoms is in correct proportion to the cell. This space-filling model demonstrates that in the case of the simple cubic lattice, the atoms touch along the edge of the cell. In the model shown here, each atom touches 3 others along the 3 edges of the cell. We can generate the unit cell of the simple cubic lattice by including only those portions of the atoms that appear inside the cell boundaries. In the case of the simple cubic cell, each atom lies 1/8 inside the cell. Since there are 8 of these fractional atoms, there is the equivalent of 1 atom inside the unit cell. The body-centered cubic lattice contains the same 8 vertex atoms as the simple cubic lattice, but with 1 body atom in the center of the cell. This simple change results in a structure that is completely different from the simple cubic lattice. Due to the atom at the center of the cell, the vertex atoms no longer touch along an edge of the cell in the space-filling model. Instead, each of the vertex atoms touches the center atom. The atoms are said to touch along the cube diagonal of the cell, which connects opposite corners of the cube. The unit cell for the body-centered cubic cell is shown here. In addition to the 8 vertex atoms, this cell contains 1 body atom that lies entirely inside the cell. This gives the equivalent of 2 atoms inside the cell. The face-centered cubic lattice contains the same 8 vertex atoms as in the simple cubic and body-centered cubic lattices, but also contains 6 atoms located in the 6 faces of the cell. In a space-filling model of the face-centered cubic unit cell, the atoms touch along the side diagonal of the cell. Each face atom touches the 4 vertex atoms that define the face of the cell. The unit cell of the face-centered cubic cell is shown here. The unit cell contains the same 8 vertex atoms as the simple cubic and body-centered cubic structures, each 1/8 inside the cell. The 6 face atoms each lie 1/2 inside the cell. When combined with the vertex atoms, this gives the